wrestling fans, and welcome to another edition of the Piledriver Weekly. My name is Electric Eric Davidson, and this is my partner, Mr. Ace Larson. We're going to get things kicked off this week as usual with OVW. Okay, OVW this week. The show starts out with Muhammad Ali Vaez and Michael Hayes making their way out to the ring. They call out the Coalition. Crimson comes out by himself. He says because of what they did that Wayne is in the hospital. This all leads to Hayes versus Crimson one-on-one. The match starts but doesn't really get anywhere before the rest of the Coalition runs in. But Vaez grabs a chair and makes the save there. Then we see Jesse Goddard's backstage talking to his agent on the phone, basically talking about how he hasn't really been having a good run of luck the last couple weeks, and his former partner Rudy Switchblade comes up and pokes fun at him a bit. Then we get a match between Dylan Bostic and Rudy Switchblade. A pretty good match. Rudy wins via pinfall here. Then we see Taylor Hendricks backstage. She's talking to Nikki St. John, kind of making fun of Heidi a little bit there. And apparently Taylor's just kind of playing Heidi here in this whole relationship thing. Heidi comes up and Taylor just kind of plays, like I said, playing her emotions there, and talks about how she didn't really get the job done, and Heidi wants to make it up to her, and so anyhow. Then we see Joe Rosa and one of his entourage members, and then the camera pans over and we see the assassin just kind of standing there, not sure what's going on there. But then we get Jamin Olivencia. He comes out to the ring and he talks about beating Jesse Goddard at Saturday Night Special, talks about beating Doug Williams about a month back. And then he talks about facing Rob Terry at the upcoming Saturday Night Special. That's going to be on July 6th. And then we see Randy Royal and Tony Gunn backstage. And Tony's kind of, saying, hey, man, I helped you out so you could pay your medical bills. And, you're not doing it. You keep cheating to win. And so Tony Gunn challenges him for a TV title match tonight. Then we see referee Chris Sharp backstage telling Crimson that the rest of the Coalition has to leave. So Crimson's not happy about that, to say the least. Then we get a match between the ladies champion Trina and Heidi Lovelace. It's a non-title match. Trina is about to get the pin when Taylor and Nikki attack and lay Trina out. Then we get a match between Jay Bradley and friend of the show, Ryan Howe. Pretty good match, really, and both guys look good. Good showing by Ryan Howe here, but Bradley wins with the boomstick. Honestly, I think Ryan's the better wrestler, and I'm not just saying that because he's a friend of mine. I just really think he is, but they seem to want to push Jay Bradley to the moon here. He even had the pay-per-view the pay-per-view match and everything, so... Then after the match, Bradley gets on the mic and talks about being on the TNA pay-per-view and being in the Bound for Glory series. And he's directing all this to Jamin Olivencia, who he wants to challenge for the OVW title. Then we get the TV title match between Tony Gunn and Randy Royal. They shake hands to start out. Pretty good match going. Then Randy fakes an injury or heart attack. They said he was faking a heart attack. Looked like he was holding his shoulder to me. But anyway, Tony gets all concerned about it and everything. But Randy takes advantage and rolls him up for the pin. Then we get the Crimson versus Hayes match. Muhammad Ali Vaez comes out with Michael Hayes, but Crimson throws a fit about it until the ref makes him leave. A decent match. The ref gets knocked down, and Hayes rolls up Crimson. Jason Wayne comes in out of nowhere and pushes him over to where Crimson is on top. But then Vaez comes in and pushes him back over, and Hayes gets the win. After the match, Vaez gets on the mic and says it's official that at the July 6th Saturday Night Special, Hayes and Vaez will face the Coalition for the tag team titles. That should be a good one. Looking forward to that. But that's OVW for this week. Don't forget, every Wednesday they do their TV tapings at the Davis Arena, 4400 Shepherdsville Road. Only about $5 to get in. A fun, cheap night out. Or you can catch them on WBNA 21 Saturdays at noon. Or you can watch their shows online at ovwrestling.com. But that's it for OVW, and next we're going to move on to Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor this week, emanating once again from Toronto, Canada. Nigel McGuinness is on commentary with Kevin Kelly. Apparently Carino left upset last week, so he's not doing commentary. Matt Taven comes out with Truth Martini and the Hoopla Hotties. Martini issues an open challenge, proving ground match to anyone in the back. Out comes Pepper Parks, which I haven't seen Pepper Parks in a while. He's a Ring of Honor vet, though, and him and Truth exchange words a little bit, and then we get the match. If Parks wins, he gets a shot at the TV title down the road. Pretty good match here. Taven gets the win with his forward DDT thing that he's been using. They still haven't given that a name. Pretty cool finisher, though. Then making his Ring of Honor debut, a guy named Rip Impact, kind of a goofy name, against Tommaso Ciampa in his return. Ciampa dominates. He uses Elgin's suplex where he holds him up for like 30 seconds. Out comes Michael Elgin, and he gets in Ciampa's face a little bit. And then Rip gets in a little bit of offense here, and but Ciampa gets the win. And after the match, Elgin gets on the mic and tells Ciampa he's the wrong guy to pick a fight with, and he'll see him at Best in the World. Then out comes Steve Carino. He's got Rhett Titus, Cliff Compton, and Jimmy Jacobs in tow. Carino gets on the mic, talks about Ring of Honor's mistakes and all that. He says Matt Hardy will be the Ring of Honor champion, and then he talks about his guys being left out of the top contender matches recently, and then he insults Nigel McGuinness a little bit. Nigel stands up. Out come CNC and Jay Lethal, and then a brawl ensues, and out come the officials to break it up. Then we get a good main event here, the American Wolves versus the Briscoes. Really good match here, it's going to be when these guys get together. The Toronto crowd booing Davey Richards as usual.
Still no shocker there.
Yeah, not sure why they hate him so much, but they actually did cheer for him, though. He pulled off a really nice kind of roll into a arm bar. Just a beautiful move, and even they had to give him props on that. Mark ends up accidentally punching Jay. Then Davey tombstones Mark and gets the pin, so the Wolves beat the Briscoes here for the first time ever, actually. Yeah, first time the Wolves have ever beaten the Briscoes. But that does it for Ring of Honor this week. Not bad at all. An improvement over last week. And next we're going to move on to Impact. Impact. Okay, Impact from Atlanta, Georgia.
Sounds good already.
Yeah, the Atlanta crowd's going to be hot. Out comes Bully Ray.
Still not buying him yet.
I mean, he's doing a great job playing the heel.
Still, it just doesn't seem like it fits, does it?
Yeah, I don't know. Nothing against him. I just don't see him as a main event guy. Of course, he brags about how he's the baddest thing on earth. He claims he single-handedly defeated Sting at Slammiversary. We all know that's not how it happened.
Yeah.
He says Sting, may retire now. And he says he's destroyed everyone. Nobody can do anything about it, blah, blah, blah. He says he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Come on.
Yeah. He calls out Dixie Carter, but out comes Hulk Hogan instead. Hogan, of course, panders to the Atlanta crowd.
Like every crowd.
Yeah, he says he has to give the devil his due, though. But did he really hear Bully say he didn't have any more competition left in TNA? He begs to differ, and he says TNA is going to be hot all summer long. He talks about the Bound for Glory series, a little more pandering to the crowd.
As usual.
Yeah, what Hogan's best at. He says tonight Bully will face Jeff Hardy. Ooh.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
We've seen that how many times?
Yeah. Jeff Hardy comes out, and, Bully's acting all upset about it. Hogan says to make Hardy feel welcome back, there's going to be a ladder in the ring for the match, and hanging above it will be a hammer.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, another gimmick match there. We get a video package hyping the Bound for Glory series. Then we see Chavo and Hernandez backstage talking about the Bound for Glory series. And, you can sense a little bit of tension there because coming up they have to face each other. And that's next. We get Chavo versus Hernandez in a Bound for Glory series qualifier.
Pretty good match.
Yeah, really good match. They bump fists and,
These two guys don't get nearly enough credit.
They really don't. Really good match. Hernandez folds up Chavo for the pin. And, Chavo's a little bit frustrated, but they shake hands and keep the peace. So, then we see MMA fighter Rampage Jackson coming in and, greeting some of the boys.
I was anxious to get your thoughts on this. What do you think about all this?
It's kind of the same thing with King Mo in OVW. I understand it.
He's no scrub. Let's
no,
be honest,
no, but he's not a wrestler.
Yeah.
And I think some of these MMA guys may take wrestling a little bit lightly. They think just anybody can come in here and do it, and
not at all.
It doesn't work that way. And I think they think they're just going to come in and immediately be accepted. And really, most wrestling fans don't give two shits about MMA guys. They, hey, you might be able to fight, but can you wrestle?
Yeah.
And that's. But,
two totally different things. I hate when people try to even compare the two, really, because it's not even the same ballpark.
Apples
really.
and oranges, man. Yeah. Two totally different things. And one doesn't, just because you like one doesn't mean you can't like the other. But I don't know. He's supposed to be making his debut tonight, but I guess by his debut they just meant coming out and talking. But anyhow, Devon is out to the ring, and he calls out Abyss. Out comes Joseph Park. Park tells Devon to shut the hell up, and he says he was robbed of his chance at the TV title, and he's done being bullied. He jumps on Devon, gets in a couple of shots, but then Devon gets the advantage on him, hits him with the mic, and then he gets a chair. Abyss's music hits, but of course Abyss doesn't come out because he's already out in the ring. So Devon gets on the mic, says if Abyss won't come out, he'll come find him, bitch. He has to throw in the bitch there. That's become one of their favorite words on TNA.
Real quick, do you think Devon ever had those beers with the strippers?
I don't know, man. After losing the title, he might not have felt like celebrating with any beers. But then, so we see Devon and Nux looking for Abyss backstage. Then we get Robbie E versus Samoa Joe. This is another Bound for Glory series qualifier match. Of course, it's a complete squash. Joe wins by submission. Then we get a look back at Mickey not saving Velvet Sky last week. And Mickey walks up to Velvet backstage and kind of apologizes, offers her a scratch-off ticket.
What?
Yeah. She says she's sorry and all that, but you can tell Mickey's just being real fake, like I said. And,
how can they go from one of the best pay-per-views of the year to hammers being held up and scratch-off tickets? Oh, TNA, you never fail to disappoint us.
And AJ Styles, nowhere to be seen or mentioned on this week's show. But so Velvet asked for her rematch, but Mickey says she already has a match tonight. Then we get a look back at Angle and the whole Hall of Fame deal. Then Jeremy Borash is in the ring and he introduces Rampage Jackson. Jackson comes out and he says he started out as a wrestling fan. He grew up watching the Memphis Territory on TV. He says he knows to be the best he has to beat the best, and out comes Kurt Angle. Angle says he's he, meaning Rampage Jackson, is looking at the best, and he says Rampage may be good in the cage, but now he's in Angle's world. They shake hands, but they're kind of sizing each other up the whole time.
What did you think of this segment? Were you intrigued by it?
Not really. I mean,
at least they're trying something different.
Yeah, and like I said, I understand the whole cross promotion deal, but I mean, a lot of wrestlers wouldn't stand a chance with Kurt Angle in the ring, much less some MMA fighter. He might be able to knock Angle the hell out, but as far as mat wrestling, he wouldn't stand a chance.
Not even close.
Then we see Jeff Hardy backstage babbling about something. Then we see Ken Anderson and Bully Ray backstage talking about ousting D'Lo. So I guess he is officially out. That question never really got answered last time.
Who gives a shit?
Anderson hints he would like to be the vice president, get the spot that D'Lo had. Then Bully kind of wonders aloud why they aren't in the Bound for Glory series. Anderson asks Bully if he needs assistance tonight, and Bully looks at him and says a good VP knows how to make that decision, and then just walks off. So Anderson's like, so does that mean I'm the VP?
Is this a drama series or a wrestling show?
It's still better than WWE, though.
We'll get to that.
Then we get a Dynamite match between Rude, Aries, and Kenny King against James Storm, Gunner, and Chris Sabin. Really good match, high energy, and Sabin gets the pin on Kenny King for the win there, and the champions all celebrate in the ring with their newly won gold. Then we see Devon and Nux still looking for Abyss backstage. Then we take a look back at the last knockout standing match from Slammiversary, which was really good. We talked about that last week. Then we see Brooke talking to Taryn backstage, and Taryn kind of asked Brooke, "Are you still in love with Bully?" And Brooke kind of clams up, says she doesn't really want to talk about it, and she basically avoids the question. Then Mickey James versus OVW's own Taylor Hendricks. Cool to see Taylor on the show. Mickey fakes sportsmanship at the beginning of the match, Not a bad match, though, and the crowd was into it. Then Mickey fakes that she twisted her knee and she's hurt, and she takes the advantage and gets the drop on Taylor. Mickey wins. More evidence of her heel turn, which I called a month ago. Then we get Devon and Nux still looking for Abyss backstage.
The search continues.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you just see like a silhouette of Abyss behind Nux, and Abyss lays both of them out. Then we get to the main event, Bully Ray versus Jeff Hardy. Honestly, kind of lame. And I'm not just saying that because I'm not a huge fan of either one of these guys. It just wasn't very exciting.
Doesn't it seem like to you that Bully and Jeff Hardy are just like the tag team guys, and they'll always be the tag team guys. And guys like Rude, Aries, Storm, Sabin, King, they need to be the guys in these big singles main events.
Oh, I agree.
Don't you think? I mean, it's just like, and we've seen it a million times already.
Yeah, and having Bully against Hardy, it just kind of even reminds you that much more about it's like. And this may not be their fault. It may be the guy booking the match, but it's like they just won't let go of this TLC thing.
Yeah, they're stuck in 2001.
Yeah, I mean,
it seemed like they were moving in the right direction at Slammiversary, and now it's just like we're back where we started again.
But typically the first show after pay-per-view is a bit
a little rough around the edges.
Yeah, I still think TNA is. I'd rather watch TNA than WWE any week, personally. But anyhow, Bully gets to the hammer first. But Hardy hits the twist of fate on him, gets the hammer. But then Bully just retreats to the back. Then, as Bully's sitting there catching his breath, you see Hogan sneaking up behind him with another hammer, getting ready to smack him in the head.
A hammers match.
Yeah. And then, Brooke comes running up, yelling, "No, Daddy, don't!" And Bully just kind of walks off as Hogan and Brooke just kind of stare at each other like, what the hell? More evidence of Brooke's heel turn, which I called probably 2 months ago. Mm-hmm. You heard it here first. It's going to happen. The evidence keeps adding up. I called it before there was really any evidence, just on a hunch. And I guess my years of watching wrestling, I just kind of
called it.
See these things coming. But anyhow, that does it for Impact this week. And next we are going to move on to SmackDown. SmackDown.
All right, now we're doing SmackDown live from Long Island, New York, and we start the show off with more recaps as usual, and then we go to Miz TV and some kind of cluster of Orton and Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan's the weak link, talking about Kane.
What is it with, this whole Daniel Bryan being crazy and thinking he's the weak link? It seems like every time Daniel Bryan starts to get over with the crowd, they try to sabotage.
Cut his legs out from there.
Yeah, everything they've thrown at him, he makes it work.
Yeah. But here's the thing, Vince. Daniel Bryan's a title contender. He's a main event guy. Whether you want to admit it or not, he is. So you're just going to have to get over it. It's like they tease us with him. You ever notice that? They just tease us with him a little bit, then they pull him back to being a goofball.
Yep.
So then basically the bunch of crap, and then Teddy Long comes out just like your usual SmackDown opening segment and says Daniel Bryan's going to team up with Randy Orton to face Rollins and Reigns tonight, which, could be a good match, But anyway. Then next we get Chris Jericho versus Curtis Axel. What did you think of this match?
I thought it was pretty good.
It was good. Heyman was on commentary, which is funny. A lot of back and forth stuff here, and then Heyman gets up, does the "It's clobbering time," like how Punk does.
Yeah, Punk's music hits.
Jericho's distracted. Axel rolls him up for the win. 1, 2, 3. Was that his first win as Curtis Axel outside of DQ?
Yeah, I think that was his first pinfall victory, which of course it would be against Jericho. But at least Jericho's willing to put some young talent over.
Yeah, and a stupid fake concussion falling all over the place.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Later. Then we have Kane and Ryback talking a little bit of smack to each other backstage, which, okay. Then we get another look at the White family, get more of this, which, high hopes, but WWE. Then we get another a segment with Stephanie, Triple H, Vinnie Mac, and it's just like, just get off camera. Get out of the way. What are you all doing? It doesn't make any sense. Then we get Del Rio versus Slater. and then all three members, the 3B, attack Del Rio. Ricardo helps out, does a flying crossbody off the rope to the outside. Trash. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean...
Then Ziggler comes on the big screen, says he's cleared to wrestle, and he will be showing off on Raw, which we'll get to that later as well. Then we get Ryback versus Kane. What do you think of this?
It is just okay. Not terrible.
They just don't know what to do with Kane or Daniel Bryan, do they?
No. I don't know. Ryback gets the win. No, actually gets DQ'd. My bad. He puts Kane through a table.
Which I like seeing Ryback put people through tables.
Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with that.
Then we go to maybe the stupidest, and I'm going out on a limb. This may be the stupidest segment I've seen in the last few months. Damien Sandow is going to challenge a supercomputer, Deep Blue, to a chess match.
Which Deep Blue was the supercomputer that actually did beat
that famous
chess champion.
Player. Yeah.
And there was actually some controversy whether
it was rigged.
Yeah, but the thing is that Deep Blue has been deactivated. So, I mean, it'd be impossible for Damien Sandow to be playing against Deep Blue because Deep Blue is no longer in service. Most of his components were stripped. He's just an empty shell now.
And then it's basically Sheamus kicking a computer screen and then Bro kicking Sandow in the face.
Didn't see that coming.
Then we get Orton and Daniel Bryan backstage. Then we get another look at the Wyatt family. And then we get Fandango versus Zack Ryder. And then Fandango gets the win here with the leg drop. Now, did he suffer the concussion here?
If he did, I didn't see it happen. I don't know. But
that's that.
Yeah.
More recaps. Then we get Natalya and Caitlyn backstage talking about the secret admirer. Caitlyn is getting a little upset.
Yeah.
Cry me a river.
Yeah.
Then we get Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and Randy Orton, and it was okay match. It was good. Because Orton was in it, he would just say it's okay or less. But Bryan accidentally drop kicks Orton, and Ambrose runs in, causing the DQ win for Orton and Daniel Bryan. Then Orton RKO's Daniel Bryan,
of course, teasing,
going to heel mode, and gives him that Viper death look that he gives his opponents after he RKO's them. And then that's the end of SmackDown. Now it's Raw is next. Monday Night Raw. All right, we got Raw live from Richmond, Virginia. I said it was Richmond Coliseum, if I'm not mistaken. Then we get Triple H coming out in his wrestling gear, ready to face off against Curtis Axel. Curtis Axel comes out. They exchange a few punches. Vince McMahon interrupts. And what was the first one? He rang the bell.
He orders the bell to be rung, and the announcer says that Axel wins by DQ.
So Triple H orders the match to be restarted. Then Vince comes out again, and it's announced that Axel wins by forfeit. So as he's walking back up the ramp, Triple H starts the match again and says it's going to be a 60-minute Iron Man match. Does this make any sense to you?
The whole thing is just stupid. It's just
either
so
just
stupid.
Put Henning over or get the hell out of the way.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, that's what I said last week. If if you're not going to put over somebody and try and build them up, just go home. Stay in your office. Your time has come and gone. And not that he can't still go in the ring. He can. But, he's in the twilight of his career. And he still doesn't want to put anybody over. It's like another Hulk Hogan. I don't know.
Then we get where Vince takes the bell from the ring.
And leaves with the bell so they can't ring it.
Like they don't have more bells. And then Triple H is arguing with Stephanie backstage, and Stephanie in these fake, phony tears, crying.
Yeah.
It's just my dad, don't hurt my dad, blah, 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 blah. It's just like, can we come up with something new? This is like 1999. It's just like they can't get out of the past. They will not let it go. It's like, no, these kids, they don't give a shit. You know what I mean? They don't care about any of these people. Or who are these people?
Yeah.
So then next we go Kane versus Ambrose, which was okay. I always like seeing Ambrose. He always looks good. And then the Shield attacks, and Bryan and Orton make the saves.
The ref brought the bell back.
Oh, yeah, the bell's back. Couldn't start the match without the bell. Kane wins by DQ. And then we get the stupid voting app thing. Vote for who's gonna face Reigns and who's gonna face Rollins.
Like
out
they
of
really
Bryan
go
and
by
Orton.
the votes anyway.
Yeah, it's just like, well, alternate either one of them. They're all gonna end up facing each other sooner than later.
Yeah.
That's all they've been doing is the feud between these guys. Then we get a bunch of bickering backstage between Orton, Kane, and Bryan, and they're all swelling it up at each other. And Bryan says to Orton, "You think I'm scared of you?"
With your beady eyes and your
horrible haircut
and your bad tattoos. I thought that was hilarious.
Of course you did. Any chance to knock Orton. Then Vicky comes in and makes a match at Payback. Orton and Bryan versus Rollins and Reigns for the titles, which, okay, we know they're not going to win the titles from those two, and Orton's probably going to turn on Bryan. But once again, why are we making matches 6 days from the pay-per-view?
Right, yeah, a great build-up there.
Yeah.
And then she throws in at the end, okay, and Kane, you're going to be against Dean Ambrose. It's like...
2 title matches with 6 days of build-up.
Yeah.
Then they announced Fandango will not be at Payback due to a concussion that he suffered. So he is out for that triple threat match for the Intercontinental title. Then we have Miz versus Rhodes. There you go.
Barrett on commentary here. I mean, it wasn't a terrible match, but it was over pretty quick. Miz wins with the figure 4 again. So much for Cody's push, I guess. I mean... Let's have him job out to the Miz by submission. I mean, is Miz under the table? I mean, not that he's terrible, but they keep pushing him,
but nobody cares.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Then Heyman, comes out and announces that Curtis Axel will replace Fandango in the 3-way at Payback.
Which this could be entertaining.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't be surprised if
Axel won it.
If Axel won the title early, to be honest.
So then we have a Mark Henry video. He's coming back next Monday.
Yeah.
Shows him destroying a bunch of people. Then we get Stephanie arguing with Vince backstage, and Vince is like, business comes first.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. Then we have Jericho coming out, cutting a promo, talking about all the greats he's faced. Everybody from Austin to The Rock to Triple H to Orton to Cena, everybody else. And he says, but nobody takes him to the limit like CM Punk does. And he promises Punk will get his best, and he needs to beat Punk. And then Ziggler comes out to interrupt.
Yeah.
And kind of teases a match between Ziggler and Jericho later, but that's not the case. It's Big E versus Jericho.
Yeah.
Which,
and of course, while Ziggler's trying to talk, dumbass is chanting, "What? What?" Yeah. That's so hilarious and original and fresh. And yeah.
Then we get Y2J versus Big E, which wasn't bad. Ziggler distracts Jericho, but Del Rio nails Ziggler. And then distracting Big E, Jericho hits the code breaker and then gets the pin, and this is just like, I don't know what's going on. It's like, what do you think about all this World Heavyweight title picture now that Ziggler's back?
I don't know. It's pretty...
Del Rio's lost all steam.
Pretty much, yeah.
Ziggler, what steam he did have, not the injury was one thing, but it seems like he's lost steam too. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, I don't know. It just...
No build-up.
I'm to the point I almost just don't even care anymore. I probably, honest to God, if it weren't for covering it for the show, I probably wouldn't even watch Raw. Covering it for TPW and Daniel Bryan, that's the only 2 reasons to watch Raw anymore. It's garbage. I mean, even when there's a match going on, it can't hold my interest because the matches are so slow and methodical and boring. Just kick punch, off the ropes, kick punch. It's just the product is
stupid storylines
awful.
that nobody cares about. Comedy that ain't fucking funny.
Yeah.
It's just stupid bullshit.
It's geared towards 10-year-olds. And I don't
even know if it's that anymore. I don't
yeah,
know if they even know who it's geared toward.
But obviously somebody thinks they're doing good because they're still filling up arenas every week. I don't know, man. I was really, really thinking about it watching Raw this week. It was like, man, I can really barely stand to watch this. It's just gotten so bad. Like I said, even when it's a match going on, the matches are subpar. The matches are boring. And like
it's
I said,
same old shit.
Yeah, with the exception of Daniel Bryan, there's really nothing worth watching. And, this occurred to me just a minute ago. What? Did I miss something? Did it take place on Main Event? Because I don't watch Main Event. What happened to Justin Gabriel's Intercontinental title shot? What?
It got lost by the wayside, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I forgot about that too. We haven't even seen him since.
Put him in the three-way. I mean,
it's just like we said before. If Ring of Honor and TNA had this budget, WWE would be in serious trouble. And they would be. They just refuse to let these new younger guys take over. I don't know.
But then the next match, one of the small bright spots of the night, we get Sin Cara versus Cesaro.
And Sin Cara had some nice offense in this match.
Sure. A real good showing by Cesaro. Mm-hmm. Like I said, now that he's not the U.S. champion, he doesn't have to job every week anymore. And did you notice he doesn't have the goofy little stripes around the legs anymore?
Yeah.
Cesaro looked real good. Nice offense by both guys. But Cesaro was just too powerful for Sin Cara. Hits the neutralizer and gets the pin. Like I said, that was a slight bright spot of the night.
But would be squandered by amounts of idiocy later.
Then another video for the Wyatt family.
And then this is...
another commercial within the show.
Hardee's this time.
Yeah. And
Vicky's stuffing her big fat face with Hardee's.
With a Hardee's thick burger.
Thick burgers.
One week it was Domino's.
Sonic.
Yeah. I mean, we see enough commercials in the commercial break. We don't need commercials within the show, and it's not like you need the money, Vince. I mean, come on, man. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, next they're going to have wrestlers wearing gear like NASCAR drivers, covered in advertisement.
Oh, gosh. Then we get Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns.
Superman
2. Superman 1 to Cena. But good match. He'll disagree with me, so go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you. It was just a boring standard Orton match.
But he's got more moves and tricks in his arsenal, but it's like they won't let him use them. I'm telling you this.
I've never seen him.
We're going to have to sit down one night, and I'm just going to have to educate you. Seriously, because he's got some badass moves that he just doesn't utilize for whatever reason. I don't know, but he does. I promise. But, yeah, Roman Reigns...
yeah, like that shooting star press off the top.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Or that springboard crossbody, or...
Mm-hmm. Bag full of jokes. Anyway, it's a no contest. Now, finally, after almost falling asleep and looking away to puke several times, we get some quality here with Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins. I always want to claim Tyler Black.
And I love how more than once, 2 or 3 times, JBL tried to sell that this was the first time ever, stressing the word ever, that these two guys have ever faced each other. Totally false. It may be the first time ever one-on-one in WWE, but, and I guess if you want to get technical, they could claim that, well, it's the first time Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins face each other. But
not Bryan Danielson and Tyler Black.
Bryan Danielson and Tyler Black faced off many a times in Ring of Honor.
Boy, they went at it in this one, didn't they?
Yeah, a really good match. Which I figured it would be between these two guys. Daniel Bryan did that really nice counter out of that surfboard. That was cool. And then does a nice modified version of his surfboard himself. Lots of good offense by Daniel Bryan, and Rollins, looked good as well. Reigns tries to interfere, but Orton stops him, and Daniel Bryan rolls up Rollins into a small package for the win. And, of course, Randy had to showboat and get his RKO in after the match on Rollins. But, yeah, good match, man. Real good match.
But then it was squandered again by this Caitlyn Secret Admirer bullshit.
Yeah, but, one good thing about this, at least now, it seems to be over.
Yeah, or so we think.
But what was the point of this whole thing? I mean...
I don't know.
I mean, it's like, okay, Big E comes out with flowers, so he's the secret admirer. And as soon as I saw Big E, I'm like, well, come on. Are we really supposed to believe this crap? He's managed by AJ, who is Caitlyn's arch enemy. I mean, come on. But, Big E was actually very well spoken. For some reason, I didn't imagine him speaking like that. I imagine him just just more of a. But he was actually had a kind of calm demeanor about him. But it smelled like a setup from the beginning.
Then he acts like he's going to kiss her and dips her down, and then just
drops her, just like Jericho did.
Yeah, Summer
Rae. Then out comes AJ laughing it up and asks her how it feels, and talks about Caitlyn abandoning her and all that crap. But that's not So they're gonna fight for the Divas title at I guess at Payback. She throws a lot of insults at Caitlyn here and everything, but the whole thing was just so stupid, and for how they built it up, it was kind of like, so that's it. It seemed like they would have kind of milked. Not that I think it would have been a good thing to do, but It just seems like they
leave something to the imagination.
They would have milked it for a couple weeks, where you would have been wondering, well, is Big E really into her, or and then have him turn on her, not just all in one segment like that. I don't know. Just kind of a stupid waste of time.
Go back to 2 hours, please.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I believe I saw a sign in the crowd saying, "We want 2 hours."
Yeah.
Which we talked about this before. If you're going to have 3 hours, use the time wisely, which they're not doing at all. They're just more filler, and
more Hardys.
Yeah. And perfect example, another vignette for the Wyatt family. Then another recap of the whole Sandow Sheamus thing.
Which they're the pre-show to Payback.
Yeah. Then we get Sandow versus R-Truth. Not really much to it here. Sandow wins with the silencer. Then out comes Sheamus and sarcastically congratulates Sandow and says he'll see him in Chicago, fella.
Good God Almighty.
Yeah. Then we see Stephanie backstage, sends a lackey looking for Vince, sends a lackey looking for Triple H, blah, 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 says meet in the office. And then they all three are in the office, and Steph tells them to talk it out. And just stupid. So, take us to our spectacular main event there, Ace.
Well, it's face-to-face time for Ryback and John Cena 6 days before Payback, and we're going to have all the roster, a.k.a. the Lumberjacks, surrounding the ring to keep things calm while they have their face-to-face meeting. And this was, oh my gosh, back and forth of talking, and Ryback and Cena and talking, and just like, oh my gosh, just, It's unbearable.
Yeah, I hit the fast forward button here. I'm not gonna lie.
That's.
Was there a point at all to this entire segment?
Not at all. Not at all.
I mean, any point whatsoever. And it went on and on and on, and I'm gonna kill somebody.
Yeah.
I'm really gonna kill somebody. But that does it for Raw, pretty much. And now this is where we do This Week in Wrestling History.
What we got this week?
Well, normally I do a history lesson here, but I'm going to skip it this week in favor of touching on the passing of Mark Starr. Passed away this week of a heart attack at the age of 50. A lot of you might not remember Mark Starr. But Mark Starr was, he never hit the big time, but I remember him quite well.
What group was he in? Wasn't he in a stable?
He may have been. He was in a tag team called Wildside.
Okay.
With his brother, his real life brother, Chris Champion. They were tag champs in the Memphis area. And he was a jobber for a while in WWE, and he was a tag team briefly in WCW with Chris Kanyon called Men at Work. But I remember him quite well. And speaking of his brother Chris Champion wrestled at the first event I ever got to go to live as a kid. I was about 12 years old. I believe it was the summer of '88, the Great American Bash Tour. And as a matter of fact, I got his autograph. I got an autograph from him and an autograph from USA Bugsy McGraw. And I've still got the program that they signed.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's just sad. It just seems like way too often a
wrestler passes.
Yeah, it just seems to happen so much. But I guess so many guys have been wrestlers.
Yeah, I guess we forget how many different guys there are.
Yeah,
over the years.
But it kind of. He was just a jobber for him for a short time, but he was at one time on WWE television, and it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way that WWE didn't even mention it. Yeah. Okay, he wasn't a superstar, but he was a wrestler. I remember him very well, and not even a mention. But anyhow, that's pretty much this week's, not really a history lesson, but I just wanted to kind of touch on that and say, condolences to his family and rest in peace, Mark Starr. But that pretty much does it for this week's episode, and we're gonna sign off here. But before we do, don't forget we got the email address set up. It's tpwshow@gmx.com. Drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you for, suggestions, critiques even, topics of discussion you'd like us to cover, anything. Just drop us a line and let us know what you think about the show. We'd love to hear from you. But we're about done here. That does it for this week's show. For Mr. Ace Larson, I'm Electric Eric Davidson, and we'll see you next time.